Balochistan is area-wise the largest province of Pakistan. It constitutes approximately 44% of the total area of the country. Balochistan is located at the southeastern edge of Iranian plateau. It is bordered with Iran in the west, Afghanistan in the north, Punjab and Sindh in the east, while south province is bordered by Arabian Sea. The province is outside the monsoon zone and experiences great extremes of climate change. In winter, the temperature can fall as low as -20 degrees centigrade in some areas. In summer, it ranges from around 18 degrees centigrade to 50 degrees centigrade, although the temperature has been known to edge over 50 degrees centigrade on the plains. The weather is at its most pleasant from around March to April and from mid-September to November. As a sequel to the devastating earthquake of October 2005, the National Disaster Management Ordinance was promulgated with a view to establish and regulate an enhanced and progressive disaster management framework at the national, provincial, and local level for disaster mitigation, preparedness, and responses. The NDMO provided the establishment of Provincial Disaster Management Commission as well as authorities to cope with the challenges of disaster management in a professional and efficient manner. Both organizations have been mandated to effectively set up a system to look after disasters and calamities, whether natural, man-induced, or accidents. The government of Balochistan has established a Provincial Disaster Management Commission as well as Provincial Disaster Management Authority in 2007 to promote enhanced disaster preparedness and management within the province. Since after PDMA's inception, it has faced many challenges to cope with the disaster in the province. In June 2007, Cyclone Yaman struck Pakistan and was followed by several days of monsoon rain. The resulting flood affected over 2 million people in the province of Balochistan. 213 people were killed. Vital crops were washed away. Government infrastructure was completely destroyed and thousands of the people were left homeless. Massive stocks crops were washed away during the flood. Both the livestock and fisheries were also affected in these areas. It was the greatest challenge for the government as well as for the newly established PDMA to cope with this devastating situation. Soon after the disaster, PDMA and with the support of other relief agencies launched the relief operation in the affected areas. The relief activities till the recovery of the people were closely coordinated under the umbrella of PDMA Balochistan successfully. The people were brought to shelters with the sustenance of other humanitarian agencies and they were provided with the necessary food and non-food items. After an early recovery phase, the provincial government with the support of donor agencies and their implementing partners has initiated to recover the people from disaster. The rehabilitation process was planned and then implemented with the funding of state agencies and people were once again resettled into their homes. On October 29, 2008, a strong earthquake with magnitude of 6.4 jolted Balochistan early Wednesday, killing over 200 people and injuring around 500 others. Hundreds of houses and government buildings were destroyed and over 20,000 people were rendered homeless. The jolts badly affected the villages of Ziyarat included Kawas, Wam, Warchum, Khan Bangla, Khan Dapu, Tangi, and the tremors were felt in Quetta, Ziyarat, Pshin, Kala Saifullah, Kala Abdullah, Mastoon, Sibi, Bolan, Kushlak, and Lolai areas. The quake flattening about 1,500 mud-walled homes and triggering landslides disrupted communication network and supply of electricity and water in the whole district of Ziyarat Valley. On the same morning, PDMA Balochistan deployed their relief team in affected areas. The relief team included doctors along with good stock of medicines. Among the other items were flour, oil, sugar, salt, milk, and mineral water, which were being distributed among the victims. PDMA approached Pakistan Army for rescue operation and they rushed their medical team on helicopters into the Kawas, Wam and Warchum villages of the Ziyarat. Doctors from Pakistan Army and Health Department were busy in providing first aid to the injured. Rescue and relief operation was started with the support of Pakistan Army, national and international humanitarian agencies and local communities. 200 dead bodies were retrieved and almost 500 other injured were relocated to hospitals while the serious injured were shifted to Provincial and CMH through Army helicopters at Quetta. With the collaboration of other humanitarian partners, the people were brought to the shelters before they exposed to severe winter conditions. After the emergency relief work, the early recovery and rehabilitation of the victims was started with the support of UN and other humanitarian organizations. The roads were reopened, power and telecom were reconstituted in the affected areas. Surveys were conducted with the support of state agencies and a comprehensive plan was established for rehabilitating the victims. Reconstruction of the damaged houses was started. The eligible families were paid the amount to rebuild their house unit on their home site. The phase was once again completed with the support of partner organizations and their support in all the shapes was really appreciable. The families were once again reshifted to their homes and they were resettled into their villages. After hitting the coastal areas of Oman by Cyclone Quetta, though under that influence of Cyclone Quetta, rain poured down on Gwadar to the tune of 370 millimeters over a matter of few hours. Other coastal areas of Balochistan were also badly hit, including Jivni, Pasni, Turbat, Ormara, and Somyani. As Meteorological Department already predicted the heavy rain in the coastal areas of the province, emergency was already declared in the coastal areas of Balochistan and Sindh, and nearly 60,000 people were evacuated to safer places in both the provinces. All the agencies and armed forces including hospitals had been put on alert and medicines and equipment stockpiled to meet the emergency. About 5,000 families from the coastal areas of Balochistan have been moved to various evacuation centers with the support of local administration and NGOs. The fishermen of the areas were stopped to move in the open sea till further orders. PDMA Balochistan had already deployed their relief team before the disaster and all the necessary measures were taken in pre-disaster stage. Strong coordination was maintained with the local administrative and other humanitarian organizations for providing the maximum relief to the affected population. The PDMA, with the support of partner organizations, had launched the rescue operation in affected areas. The remaining population was moved into safer buildings like schools and other government buildings. They were provided the food, safe drinking water with the support of partner organizations. The contaminated floodwater was really a big challenge to remove from the houses in towns because it was posing health hazards to the affected population and it could become a breeding ground for contagious diseases. Water pumps were installed to remove the water from the houses, schools, and streets. The people were provided the necessary food and non-food items with the support of humanitarian agencies. The entire process was monitored by PDMA through an effective coordination with these agencies. PDMA was identifying gaps in relief operations and provided solutions for effective and timely provision of relief assistance in the affected areas. Starting in July 2010, the devastating flood hit Pakistan. More than 1,700 people lost their lives and another 20 million people were affected across the South Asian countries. The torrential monsoon rains began in July 2010, followed by a flash flood in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Sindh, Lower Punjab and Balochistan. Nearly 1.9 million homes were destroyed across an area of 11,600 square kilometers. The floods have affected 78 districts out of a total of 141 districts in the whole country. In Balochistan, the flood started to hit Baharkan district and caused heavy damages in Kulu and Rakan areas. And then it exceeded to another 12 districts of the province. It was the most affected flood in the history of the province, led to the whole infrastructure destroyed in the areas. 51 people have lost their lives, including children and women. 713 schools have been destroyed, 138 health centers were washed away, and approximately 76,000 houses were abolished due to heavy floods and torrential rains. Agriculture and livestock sector of the province, the foundation of the provincial economy, suffered heavy losses from flood. Torrents badly damaged canal system and washed away standing crops on 7 lakh acres in the green belt of the province, mostly in Nasirabad and Jafarabad districts. 14 districts have been affected by the flood, including Sibi, Kachi, Sirabad, Jalmaksi, Kolu, Barakan, Harnai, Loralai, Sherani, Kalasefla, Musakhil, Dera Bukti, and Shob, while the 5 districts are mostly affected, including Nasirabad, Jafarabad, Kachi, Sibi, and Jalmaksi. The PDMA Balochistan immediately began to assess the population of flood-affected areas in Balochistan. Search and rescue operation was launched to recover the population in support of Pakistan Army and other humanitarian agencies. The people were rescued to 30 relief camps across the province in all the affected districts. They were provided with their food and non-food items on daily basis. The UN cluster was led to implement the plans and policies across the affected areas. Through the close coordination with the different line departments and national and international partners, the different need assessment survey was conducted on rapid basis to cope with the disaster for recovering the people from calamity. PDMA was trying to provide food assistance and other social protection measures to offer a basic safety net, especially to the most vulnerable communities. It provided sustainable solutions through the provision of shelter assistance, prioritizing intervention that can span emergency shelter, transitional shelter, and core housing needs. The reformation of destroyed government infrastructure was initiated in collaboration of the stakeholders on emergent basis. As the government of Pakistan has decided to provide early compensation to the affected people and in this regard launched the Watan Card scheme. The Nadra is leading the process and a total of 1.48 million cards have been issued in the country so far. In Balochistan, 85% of the population have been given the Watan cards. PDMA continues to make all efforts to reach as many of the affected as possible. The displaced communities are already returning to their native areas with the support of stakeholders, and the total repatriation of the IDPs reported so far is approximately 97% in the country, and the government of Pakistan has decided to discontinue relief phase in the response to flood 2010 with effect from the 1st January 2011. Early recovery of the affected population is already initiated with the support of stakeholders, and the basic assessment for early recovery has carried out in affected population. The government and its partner have worked tirelessly on finalizing the relief and early recovery plan, which is under implementation.